Hello and welcome to episode 73 of the What Shara Made podcast. Welcome back if you are a returning viewer, and a big hello if this is the very first time you're joining me. I've got quite a few FOs and a couple of whips to show you, and a few new acquisitions and a few design whips and a few competition prizes to draw. And a couple of other things to talk about because it's been a little while since my last podcast, so I've got a lot to fill you in on today. So I might dive straight in. I've even written myself some notes this episode because I didn't want to forget anything. I might dive into my first whip, which you would have seen on the last episode, maybe? I've already filmed this episode before, and now I've got to try and remember what I talked about in that episode, and if it was in the last episode or the episode I've already recorded, but I'm not going to publish, because when I came to edit the episode, this episode that I'm refilming, there was some background noise that I couldn't edit out. As soon as I sat down to film, my next door neighbour decided to trim his hedge with a very loud hedge trimmer, and all you can hear throughout the entire episode is actually the hedge trimmer, and there's certain points where you can't actually hear me because all you can hear is the hedge trimmer. So I've had to refilm this episode, so hopefully I don't forget to say anything. But I'll talk about this whip here. And if you know me in real life, you might have already seen this. I haven't shown it on Instagram or anything like that, but if you've been to a knitting group or something like that with me, you would have seen this because I've been working on it kind of all year. I think I started it maybe the day before New Year's Eve, and then maybe. In fact, I think I showed it on the last episode because I had a little bit of I stopped doing the original thing I was making with my Rosehip Island advent calendar and started making this instead. I changed my mind on my original project, advent calendar project, and started on this. But it's grown a lot since the last time I saw you. So it's a big mosaic wrap. So it starts there. It grows along and along. I've only got 2.5 colours to go. It's not showing up very well in the contrast there. It starts to get a bit blurry here in these colours, but that's okay. I don't mind that at all. I still love the effect here. It sort of looks like what it actually reminds me of. Maybe this isn't a very favourable description, but I think it's nice. Like a worn out patch in a well-worn area on some old-fashioned carpet, like at your nan's house or something, in the hallway, where the hallway meets the kitchen or something. And that's a big, long progression of it. So it's growing. And I've got about 2.5 colours left, so I think I'm up. These are both number 9 in the advent calendar, and it goes up to 12. So I've still got 10, 11 and 12 in both colour series. And I should get up to both number 10s tonight, maybe, if I work really hard, knit really fast. This one will just be my own personal one, but I will make a different prototype because for the pattern and for display purposes and things like that, just to make it easier to actually see what the pattern looks like in photos and things like that, and from a distance, and get a better idea of what the pattern actually looks like, because it's a little bit difficult in this yarn. I think you can sort of see. Some of the colours are a better contrast than others. And those 3 colours that I will use for that one are these ones here, and you can see quite clearly that they've got a really good contrast with each other. Even those ones next to each other have a really good contrast with each other. And the design, when I originally made it, even though I've made my very first one in using an advent calendar, was intended to be made with 3 different colours, and they progress and swap and interchange with each other. I just wanted to use my advent calendar, so you can use it with 3 different skeins, and that's a more practical use of a pattern. But because most people have got 3 different skeins hanging around in their stash, or it's easier to obtain 3 different skeins that will work rather than trying to get your hands on an advent calendar. Sometimes that can be a bit tricky. So they're the 3 colours. That's coming up a little bit purple on the screen, but it's actually a navy blue. So I can't wait to get started on that one, because I think it's going to be quite striking in these 3 colours. Really excited about getting started on that. And I think the title I'm going to go with, I'm not 100% sold on it, but I think the title I've decided for this pattern is Isfahan. And if you're at all good with geography, you will know that that is a city in Iran, or Iran, however you like to pronounce that. I will go with either one. If you are familiar with geography, you will know that's a city in Iran, and it was actually going to be my sister's name before she was born. That's the name my parents had chosen for my sister, Isfahan. But at the last minute they changed their mind and called her something else. And Isfahan, the city, is well known for its beautiful, amongst other things, its beautiful rugs and carpets and woven rugs and carpets. And this design, this pattern, was reminiscent of those. So I might go that way. It has a nice link to my family. We used to call my sister Isfahan when she was little anyway, even though my parents decided on a different name. And it is a very beautiful city, very beautiful. If you get into the etymology of the actual word, it's not really a word you would use as a name for a person. But if you think about the etymology of a lot of names that are quite common, they are not words you would actually use for a name for a human, if you really thought about it. So it probably doesn't really matter. It's a beautiful word, a beautiful city. That's the working title at the moment, but I might change my mind in the future. I don't know. It would definitely be named in honour, great honour of that place. But we'll see. So that is that. My next whip, well, it's not really a whip, it's not a whip yet, it's almost a whip. So, while watching the Lovebird Lane podcast with the lovely Julianne, hello Julianne, she showed the most gorgeous hat that she had made called the Sparkling Cider Hat, which is a pattern by Vullenvine. Excuse me on the pronunciation of that. And it was spectacular. Oh my god, I audibly gasped when I saw Julianne's hat. It was so beautiful, and then Julianne dyed up some kits and put them in her shop, and I had to treat myself with one of those kits, so I got the kit. Oh my god, it's so beautiful. So it's one skein of the glitzy sock in Dusty Mauve and one skein of the fluff butt in also Dusty Mauve. Look at this, beautiful. Oh my god, it's so gorgeous. And this, oh, you can see the glitter. It's got gold stellina in it. And so these come as a kit, are so beautiful. And the hat pattern also has beads in it. So I got myself some beads. I don't know how well those are showing up. They're a pretty good match. It's not normally my style, but I don't care. It was so gorgeous. I'm making myself a very fancy hat. And I'm going to slot in a picture of that hat here. So that's what that hat looks like, and you can see it's beautiful. And I cannot wait to cast that hat on. Julianne said it was quite a quick knit, so but she's a bit of a speed machine when it comes to knitting, I have noticed, so I don't know if it'll be a quick knit for me, but I'll give it my best shot. And it's been a very long time since I have knit with beads, so I don't know how that's going to go for me. Might be something I have to knit at my desk where I've got a platform, a safe platform to put the beads and all that sort of stuff. I don't think that's something I could safely do sitting on the couch or anything, or while moving, like on the train or the bus or anything like that. I don't think that's a travel knitting project somehow. But yes, very pleased with this kit. Cannot wait to cast on. So pleased. And Julianne also has a podcast called Lovebird Lane also, and you should check her out on YouTube. She's a real treat to watch as well. So check out Julianne's website and her podcast, and you'll be happy that you did. Now my next one is an FO. I'm not doing anything in order today. Usually I do everything in a bit of a sequence, but I'm not today. My next one is a sample that I've knit up for my local yarn store, and it is a sample of my Vela shawl. So, oh, this smells so good. It's I use the, what is it? I think it might be the jasmine honeysuckle, or I don't know, something, the florally eucalyptus. Beautiful. It's really nice. So long and lovely. I could probably put it on. So this is my Vela shawl, and the yarn I used is this K-Law yarn, and this was a new yarn that they've started stocking at my local yarn store, and they wanted a sample knitted up in it, so I thought I would knit this one. It works. This yarn is a singles Donegal. This is looks a bit ratty because I've used almost the entire ball, so it's kind of collapsed in on itself, but you get a good idea of what the construction of the yarn is by that close-up. And it is called Soft Donegal. It's 100% pure merino wool, made in Ireland. 100, I think they've got their little label inversed here. It says 380 grams per 100 metres, but I think that's meant to be around the other way. I think it's meant to be 380 metres per 100 grams. Anyway, and I didn't realise they had colourways, and I just pulled the labels off before I started. And one colour is called grainy and the other colour is called swilly, but I don't know which is which, so I can't help you there. I would say this is grainy and this is swilly. That would just be a guess, but just a guess. So it's very rustic. When I was knitting with it, it had a very strong lanolin feel and fragrance, which is fine with me, and that doesn't worry me at all. And when I washed it before blocking, a lot of lanolin and stuff came out of it. So yeah, it doesn't have a lanolin fragrance or anything now, and it bloomed a lot when I washed it, and it softened a lot as well. But it's very rustic and not like in a bad way, in a really lovely natural way, and it works so perfectly with colour work. Any sort of colour work was really nice to knit with, and it just worked perfectly with the mosaic. I think you can see how beautifully it's come up in the mosaic. Like, there's just perfect stitch definition there with that yarn. It's a singles construction, but quite tough. I never felt in danger of accidentally ripping it or anything like that, like I have with other singles that I've used before. It was beautiful. It's lovely to work with. I really enjoyed it. That's the green, such a lovely colour. Beautiful. Let's see that green. It's right up my alley, that colour. Yeah, really enjoyed working with this. I'm not sure if I'll put the tassels on this one or not. I'll ask the yarn store and see if they want tassels on it. That's why I haven't done tassels yet. They might not want tassels. I want tassels on everything, but you know, that's not everyone's bag. So yeah, loved working with that Kalo yarn. They don't have their yarn for sale on their site. It's only available through stores, and I think one of the only stores it's available through is my local yarn store, which is Crumbs Craft, which is a beautiful shop, and they sell online. So beautiful. So that is one of my FOs, and I knit that in record time. Really quick knit, that one. Super quick. I even did an extra repeat. So that was good. Nice quick project. The next part, I might do another FO. Will I? Won't I? No, I won't yet. Well, this is an FO, but it's a design whip. So, well, it's a design FO, but there's no pattern attached to it just yet because it needs testing. And it doesn't have a name yet. I think I've thought of a name, but I haven't settled on it, so I won't tell you because I'll probably change my mind 3 or 4 times before then. So, these are a bit twisted. These are some new fingerless mitts that I've been working on. I don't know if you can see what's going on there. I might put one on and show you what it looks like. So, I don't know if you can see what's going on there. So, first of all, I'll tell you about the yarn. The yarn is Ren and Ollie Nurse sock yarn, just a regular sock yarn, and that colourway is Petal. and this colourway is Night Owl. Both gorgeous, absolutely beautiful, love it to death. And this technique that I've used here is Intarsia in the round, so that I can have this lace panel up the front here but still work the piece in the round all in one piece, so you don't have any seaming, and it's all together. So it's an interesting technique that I've used before for other things, but I've never had quite as much success with it as this. So I did fool around with it a bit, and I think, I don't know if I've developed my own technique or if that's just how it works or what, but I wasn't able to find anything online, like on YouTube and whatnot, that actually addressed the issues that I was facing or encountering as I was trying to do this. So I just played around and just through trial and error and just kept going and going and going with my little samples until I got a technique that was working. And it's not like any of the other techniques I've found on YouTube. I'm not saying I invented something new, because it probably does exist, I just haven't found an example of it yet. So this is my Intarsia in the round pattern. You could just knit this in one colour and you wouldn't have to knit an Intarsia in the rounds, but I liked the detail of the different colour, the contrast colour panel in the middle. That's what I wanted to do. That's the whole point of it, obviously. And I wanted something that had lace but wasn't too frou-frou-y. I don't know how to describe it. I don't want to say girly because there's nothing wrong with girly, but obviously. But I wanted something that was a bit more graphic. This ended up reminding me of praying mantis heads, but that's cool. I love praying mantises. Praying mantis? I don't know. So I've also done another one in a different colour, and somehow, I don't know how I did it, but I ended up decreasing stitches after I closed the thumb gusset, and it got really tight around the fingers, but I'm not entirely sure how I did that. That was not intentional or part of the pattern, so that was weird. So this one does get a little bit tight around the fingers, and that was not intended. Obviously you can easily lengthen or shorten this. This thumb gusset, it's quite a gentle slope on the thumb gusset. It's not a sharp, short slope on the thumb gusset. I prefer a gentle slope on a thumb gusset. You get a lot more movement with a gentle slope on a thumb gusset. And so that's what's going on with this one. It sort of reminds me of ferns too, but that's probably just because of the colour in that one. And I've also started a pair of socks in the exact same flavour. I was going to say, you know exactly what I mean. And so the same technique with that exact same panel down the front. You can imagine that's a sock if I just fold that in. So the exact same technique, but it's a sock. And I have plans to also do a beanie with that panel up it as well. So I think that will be interesting. And if you care to have a look at these, I don't know how this happened. I don't know what I did, but look at this. these two are not the same length. I somehow did 13 repeats in this one and 11 repeats in this one. Just lucky, I guess. So, I don't know how I did that. But anyway, I did. So, that's what we've got going on there. Yeah, so that's what's happening there. And because I did get that technique just from my own head and I hadn't referenced it from anywhere else, the exact method I was using, and I'm still searching for something that's similar, I'm struggling to put it into words in a pattern. I know how to do it because I know how it works. I know what the function is to make it work, but putting it into words so that anyone who reads the pattern can go, yep, got it, I know what she's talking about, has been quite the struggle. So I'm still working on that. I'm waiting for an epiphany where I just go, oh, that is the word I was looking for. Yes, that's how I write it. So I'm still doing that. But look out on Instagram and in the Ravelry group because I will do a call for testers. It uses very little yarn, less than 10 grams for the panel here and about maybe less than 20 grams for this part. Maybe about 25 grams to be safe for the body and less than 10 grams. Maybe just on 10 grams if you're a bit of a loose knitter for the panels, for the whole pair. And it's it's a quickish knit. You have to have a little bit of patience and it will be a new technique I think to most people, but it's good if you like learning new techniques. I do. So yeah, that's these Intarsia in the round knits with that one as well. Haven't woven in any ends. So that's that. My next one is, yeah, I can talk about that now. These ones, I haven't got them on a sock blocker, so they're sort of a little bit hard to see, but you get the idea. Let me hold it up close. So I knit these socks for my mum, and I wanted to try out a new yarn that my local yarn shop got in, which is the Zilana Cozy or Cozy C-O-Z-I sock yarn. I hadn't seen it before and they got that in, and it's a blend of merino, brush tail possum, baby alpaca and nylon. And it says it's a 4-ply or a fingering weight, but it's a very healthy fingering weight yarn if ever I've seen one, and it therefore made very, very sturdy socks when I knit them on my regular sock needle size. These are hardcore socks, like they're very, very thick and sturdy. They fit my mum perfectly. I've tried them on her feet, and she keeps asking, when am I getting my socks? I'm like, I just want to show them on the podcast and you can have them. She's very patient. And I've used my Appiday socks pattern. Just in case you're wondering, that is this pattern, which was really fun to knit again. Just a simple heel flap and gusset, just very nice to use, just a regular square toe, just normal. But these were, yeah, it's such a solid fabric, like I wish you could feel it because it's intense. Beautiful texture on that stitch, so really nice. So I've got a pair there. And I knit these as part of the Kiwi Kanga Kel that's going on Ravelry at the moment. and you need to use either an Australian or New Zealand yarn and knit an Australian or crochet an Australian or New Zealand pattern with that yarn, so written by an Australian or New Zealand designer. And that's obviously me. I'm actually half Australian, half New Zealand, so that was easy, covered all bases there. And that was my first entry into that cal, so that's been entered in. And I've also entered these socks, double dipped, entered these socks into the Grocery Girls February sock along. I think that's what they call it. I managed to get a pair of socks into the January sock along for the Grocery Girls as well, so miracle. And very happy with these. Love the colour, love the texture, even though it's like super hardcore. My mum loves them, they fit her, thank goodness, and yep, very happy with these. So I think I've got some other things that I will be able to enter into that cal soon. Oh, I do. The next thing I show you will be something that I can enter into that cal. So this is another design FO. These socks here. So you may recognise this yarn because it's the same yarn I used to make these. It's the Ren and Ollie in the Night Owl and Petal colourways, and it's gorgeous. I'm so in love with these two colours together. Absolutely beautiful. I'll put one down so I can give you a closer look. So this is a new design by me. It is mosaic knitting in the round. So even though it's colour work and it's socks, it's still quite stretchy. Mosaic knitting's quite stretchy. It's stretchier than regular stranded colour work, just in case you're wondering. And with mosaic knitting, just in case you're not familiar with it, you probably are, but just in case, with mosaic knitting, you only ever use one colour per row. You're not trying to carry two colours along and use two colours at the same time. So that is these socks. I haven't quite got a name for them yet either. Once again, I struggle with names, so I'm really pedantic about what I do name things. So yeah. So and they've got the gusset in there because I wanted the pattern to carry all the way around the foot. It makes a lovely fabric, and this fabric is nowhere near as thick as the fabric that these made. And this is a double thickness fabric. Well, sort of is, but it's, yeah, you could easily still wear these in regular shoes. These ones really definitely boot socks. Yeah, so happy with these. I am beside myself with these, and these knit up so quickly. You might sort of imagine that colourwork socks are a bit arduous and a bit sort of perhaps tedious to knit because you sort of got to concentrate, but this is a very intuitive pattern. You can see what needs to happen. Excuse me. You can see what needs to happen. You can read your work, and yeah, the heel flap and gusset, the heel flap's all the same. The gusset is just like a normal gusset, and it's, yeah, it's all good. They fit beautifully, they're comfortable to wear, and because it's mosaic knitting and not regular colour knitting, there's no giant floats inside to get your toes tangled in when you're trying to put them on. And I used a different type of toe than I normally do. I used a round toe in this pair. So that was a new technique that I don't usually incorporate, but it was really nice to knit and it's nice to wear as well. So I'm very happy with these, and I'm going to knit another pair very quickly. cast it on very soon. And I'm going to use this beautiful yarn here. These two colours. And this is ochre yarn. And this particular blend is, I've got my glasses on, so hopefully I can tell you, Australian Merino, Tibetan Yak and Silk. So, excuse me, my phone keeps dingling, very unprofessional. And even though it hasn't got nylon in it and I'm going to be using it for socks, I'm hoping that the silk content in here will play the part of the nylon. Fooling myself, maybe? I don't know. But I guess we'll find out. But I also have so many pairs of hand-knitted socks that my socks don't get time to wear out, if that makes sense. I've only ever worn holes through one pair of socks. And I had those for over 5 years before they wore through, and I wore them to death. Like, I wore them a lot. They were probably my most popular pair of socks that I wore the most, if that makes sense. So, I don't know. We'll see. I guess it's a good experiment to do. And yeah, so that is this beautiful, beautiful yarn. I haven't used ochre yarn before. So I just thought these two colours look so beautiful together. I thought they would make a really nice pair like this. So that's what I'm going to do with those. And I'll be asking for testers for these socks soon. So if you feel like making a pair of these, watch out on Instagram and Ravelry, and I'll be calling for testers really soon on these. It's a good idea if you already are familiar with sock knitting. I wouldn't knit those socks if you'd never knit socks before. While they're not particularly difficult, you probably want to have some experience in sock knitting first. Now, my next pair of socks, I'm probably going to maybe, I don't know, I probably don't need those sock blockers. I knit another pair of socks in January for another cowl that I'm taking part in, which is the Aussie Dyer Sock Along, 2019 Aussie Dyer Sock Along. Put the hashtag along there. And that's going on Ravelry and Instagram, and you can find all the information about that in the Rosehip Island podcast Ravelry group. And that's been a really fantastic cowl that's been going on, and I have discovered so many new Aussie dyers, yarn dyers through that cowl, and it has been fantastic. And I have now got yarn from an independent dyer from every single state in Australia, state and territory in Australia now. Well, I've got yarn from Queensland on its way to me in the mail. It's presently on its way to me, and once that arrives, I will have yarn from every state and territory in my possession. And then I'll be able to complete the whole cowl. But this pair of socks that I have got here, this beautiful pair, is the Feathers and Bones pattern by Little Home Designs. I think it's Little Home, not Little House Designs. I'll put the name here. That's so pretty. Oh my god, I love this. And that yarn, oh, absolutely gorgeous. I loved every second of this project. The yarn is so beautiful, and it is from Bell and B and Bell. Oh, my head is just, I've been talking for too long now. So I'll put the name here, so that I can actually have it correct, because I want everyone to go to that Etsy shop and have a look, because the yarn is just so beautiful. I can't wait to get more, but I need a good reason because I have been buying a lot of yarn recently. But these socks, oh my god, the yarn is so beautiful. Look at that colour. Oh my god, the colourway is called Drove Me Through the Mountains, and it's beautiful. It's so soft, the colour is sensational, it arrived quickly, it's beautiful, absolutely gorgeous, can't say enough good things about it. And the pattern is beautifully presented, beautifully written, easy to understand, comes in 2 sizes, and was a joy in every single row. It was really intuitive, you could read your work, it was an excellent travel project, they fit beautifully. I love it, can't wait to knit another pair. So I'm really happy about that. So that was my first project for the Aussie Dyer Sock Along, and it's also my first pair into the Grocery Girls January Sock Along, or whatever it's called. I can't remember the name of that thing, but you're probably familiar with it because they're very popular. And I'll happily knit that pattern over and over again. I just adored it. And I think I will enter these into the Aussie Dyer Sock Along as well, and they will be my South Australian entry because Rin and Ollie is from South Australia, so that will be a good pair. But I can't enter the others in, and I think I'll enter this in as my Tasmanian entry into the Aussie Dyer Sock Along, even though it's not a sock, because the rules are pretty loose and you can enter in socks for the body, which includes wraps. So that's good. Now, while I'm on the Aussie Dyer Sock Along, I can show you my Northern Territory yarn. So this is gorgeous, and it's from Queen Bee Yarns, and she's on Etsy, and she's in the Northern Territory in Australia. And this is 50% merino, 25% superfine alpaca, and 25% nylon. So that's a really interesting mix, and I've never knit any alpaca socks, so I'll be interested to see how they work up. I'm not sure what pattern I'll make yet, but I'll find something. Really beautiful, really pleased with that, can't wait to work up those for that Cal. And the other pattern I'm really excited about making is the Prairie Mitts by Tracy from the Grocery Girls, and I'll slot a picture in here. So how gorgeous are those? I've got some mohair coming from the Koala Girl Collective in South Australia. That's on its way to me, and I'm going to pair it up with this gorgeous yarn. How beautiful is that colour? Oh my god, I can't wait to start knitting them. And this is from the Knit Craft and Knittery. Beautiful. And that's called Missy Z. Love it. Can't wait to cast those on. Apparently that's also quite a quick knit, so be very nice. I wear mittens quite a lot in winter because when I go out in the mornings it's almost always 0 or below when I leave the house in the mornings, so, and then it warms up, but yeah, I need something for my little hands. Now let me check my list of notes. Yes, done that, done that, done that, done that, done that. Haven't done that, haven't done that, have done that. Okay, so I'm going to announce for the 2018 year-long stash busting craft along. At the end of the year, I announce the whole year winner. So for the entire year of 2018, I do one winner who gets 3 patterns, and of their choice from Ravelry. Any pattern, any single patterns that you, any 3 single patterns that you like from Ravelry, and you can choose to keep them all yourself, or I can send one to you and one each to 2 friends, however you'd like to arrange it. I don't mind. If you can see your name here right now, congratulations, you are the 2008 year-long stash busting craft along winner, and you've won 3 patterns to disseminate however you like from Ravelry. Just let me know which 3 patterns and how you would like to arrange them, whether you'd like them all or you'd like me to spread them out. Congratulations, and thanks for taking part all year long in that craft along. And as you'll see in my Ravelry group now, there's already been some amazing FOs put into the 2019 year-long stash busting craft along thread there, and it's already filling up, and there's already so many amazing FOs popping up in there. So I've already got a January winner to announce. So if you can see your name here, congratulations, you are the January winner for the 2019 year-long stash busting craft along. So let me know which single pattern from Ravelry you would like, any pattern at all. It doesn't need to be one of mine, it can be any pattern at all on Ravelry that you love. Let me know and I will send it to you on Ravelry. And thank you for taking part in the Cal. And that runs all year long, and everybody's welcome to join in. The rules are really simple and they're all outlined in that thread in my Ravelry group. And that's that ticked off, I think that's all. I was just going to say that it took me so long to film a new episode this year because I was very sick all year. Pretty much as soon as New Year's Eve was over, probably from about the 2nd of January, I have been sick, really sick, and I just couldn't get myself together to do anything, let alone film a podcast. There were even many days there where I was so sick I could not even knit. So that's how serious it was. I couldn't even do anything. So yeah, I've been really sick, which isn't great, but I'm feeling much better now. And I hope you're all doing well, and I hope the weather is being kind to you. We have had some extremely mild weather. We had an epic heat wave throughout January. It was crazy, and then February has been so mild. Apparently it's going to heat up again next week, though I'm going to be very busy next week, and so I assume that's why the weather's going to be heating back up again. So thanks for that, universe, really appreciate it. And I'm going to keep knitting. I'm going to try my best to get this finished so that I can start the official one with the red, white and blue. And I'm going to keep going with my Intarsia in the round pattern so that I can hopefully write an easy to understand pattern that can go into testing, and I will also finalise the details of the mosaic in the round socks as well, so that I can get those into testing. And I look forward to seeing you all again soon. So thank you very much. Bye.